The rest of the Arrowverse has wrapped up for the year due to production shutdowns, but Legends of Tomorrow is still going strong and keeping the action rolling with a full-on zombie apocalypse and some really jaw-dropping deaths in this episode. So just a quick warning, there will be spoilers ahead in this video for the latest episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, titled I Am Legends. So this is far from the first time Legends of Tomorrow has dipped its toe into the horror genre. I mean, like, we've seen zombies from time to time already, too, but this one was some killer execution on the subgenre. Like, we get the new age, fast-moving zombies here, and the framing and effects work is spot on, and to really play into the terror of having a zombie outbreak dropped right on top of you. And the zombie apocalypse comes courtesy of Charlie's godlike sisters, of course, who called in a favor with Astra and had her turn on her new pals, allowing the Fates to steal the Waverider and the Loom all in one quick twist. As for the Legends, though, they're actually stuck in London with no access to a time courier to return to the ship, and the Fates start a zombie uprising to slow them down. And well, their mission is to reach an old Time Bureau safe house because some of them they were all over the world, but some of them aren't working anymore. But the one in London is, so they're going there to try and get a time courier there because it should be there. So they steal a bus and a food truck along the way to finally get there, and it turns out without a spaceship and time machine at their disposal, the Legends aren't really good at getting around. They kind of need that time machine that's like their big power, kind of. So, anyway, the journey takes them toe-to-toe with the undead at plenty of turns, which really makes for some stellar fight scenes here with all the team's myriad superpowers on display. I really like some of the stuff, like when Mick was fighting a zombie and then he punched one, but then the arm came off and then he just slapped another zombie with that arm. That was really cool. But we also get some good bonding moments among the team here, which aren't uncommon, though they have an air of sadness hanging over them, which we learn later is due to the fact that Sarah has seen a vision of her own death at the safe house. So, yeah, Sarah seemingly doesn't make it out through this one, but even though she can't see what happens past her death, she has complete faith in the team to complete their mission and save the world. Which is no surprise because Sarah is the superhero leader any team would be lucky to have. I mean, even after she's dead, she knows that her crew will be able to save the day and bring everybody back. Her, Astra's mom, Bayrod, and, everybody else that died in this episode. Because we got some other deaths going on here. Because back on the Waverider, Gary gets electrocuted and he starts hallucinating. And he sees a human version of Gideon, which we've seen in previous seasons before, but it was nice to see the actress return here, because, I mean, it's always cool to see that the actress that voices Gideon sometimes appears in human form here. So I always enjoy that when that happens, and it was funny having it be that Gary was just hallucinating. But Gary and Gideon, I guess, is all that stands in the way of Charlie's sisters and Astra, and with the odds stacked against him, he manages to steal the rings and keep them from the Fates for a bit, until he's busted and threatened with impaling. But even then, Gary manages to hide the rings and hold out a while longer. He was really good in this episode. I have to admit, Gary was probably one of my favorite characters in this episode, or maybe just my favorite character, because he was really good in this episode. He, usually is just used for comedy effect, and of course he was here, but he was also, really cool. Gary be cool. And he actually ends up reaching the inner good in Astra, because when Astra gets turned back to the bad side, the dark side, he manages to turn her back, because what turned her back to the dark side in the first place is that Atropos or Lachesis, one of the two, they showed her the eventual death of her mother if she did bring her back to life. So basically that was when Astra realized, oh, maybe I don't want my mother to be brought back to life, because then I'll just have to watch her die again. But then Gary convinces her that, and like, she realizes that it would still make it worth the resurrection to have that time, and even, those memories with her mother, even if it's just a short amount of time, because, that's life. Life is short, and that's what happens. Nothing lasts forever, really. So yeah. Some other little things that happen in this episode. Constantine on the bus, with a smoking will kill you sign hanging behind him also, and then smoking again. Also the zombies ignore Constantine because his soul is already, gone, basically. But speaking of Constantine, hookup alert, because the sexual tension between Constantine and Zari finally came to a head this week as the two hooked up after yelling at each other. And this felt like a strange match at first, but the more we've gotten to know the new Zari, it really is clear to see how opposites attract. But I still don't know how to feel about this. I don't really like this. Like, as soon as I saw it happen, I saw them kiss, and then I was like, no! Why? So, just why? Why you gotta do that? It just seems weird, because, like I said a couple episodes ago, I felt like they had almost like a brother-sister relationship, and now they hook up, and it's like, oh, they're not brother-sister, okay. But last week, the team acquired immortality for 24 hours, which they'd planned to use to fire up the Loom of Fate, but by episode's end, their immortality runs out. But they did take full advantage of it, with Ava even taking a Wolverine-style bullet to the head and getting back up from it. And I actually completely forgot that she was immortal. So when she got shot, I was like, oh no! And then I thought she was going to turn into a zombie, but no, I forgot. And throughout the whole episode, there were obviously those parts with Ava and Sarah where they were always like co-captains for life. Of course, that emotional moment between those two before Sarah possibly died. Yeah. So back to everything that was going on with Astra and Gary in all that stuff, because this is like one of the biggest parts of the episode, because in the end the Fates actually end up killing Astra when she betrays them, and then they kill Gary. So yeah, those are some big deaths. Sarah, Gary, and Astra, and then obviously we had Bayrod die as well. So wow, they did. Obviously they're coming back to life. When Bayrod died and the whole goal was to bring back just Bayrod and Astra's mother, I wasn't quite sure if they'd actually be able to do it. But now that, like, Sarah is dead and Gary and Astra, especially with Sarah being dead, you gotta know they're gonna use the Loom and bring everybody back, because it's kind of similar to Avengers Infinity War, when at the end when everybody got snapped and turned to dust. Like, when Spider-Man got dusted, that was the thing that made it so obvious that everybody was coming back to life in Avengers Endgame, because the next Spider-Man movie literally came out about a little over a year after Avengers Infinity War. So you can't kill him off and then give him his own movie. And Sarah is the main character on this show. She's the captain. And yes, I get that Ava is a co-captain, but they're not going to kill off Sarah like this. They're going to bring them all back. Like, there's no way they're not going to do that. But in that ending, when Gary is killed, Charlie is there, and she uses the Time Bureau device to jump back to the ship, while the rest of the Legends are back at the pub or bar, fighting off the zombies. And so Charlie gets back to the ship, but after getting the rings from Gary, She then offers them to her sisters once confronted. But is she making a play to use her sisters to power the rings to set things back right with the Legends crew? Or is she actually evil? Was she actually evil this whole time and just pretending to be a good guy? I mean, I assume she's probably just playing her sisters, because, I mean, you can't build her up for 2 seasons here and then be like, oh, she was a bad guy the whole time. But only time will tell. And we've got 2 more episodes of this season of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. So much more to come. We've got to wrap up the whole Loom of Fate storyline. And I'm super excited for the next episode, because I think it's called, like, the one where we got trapped in TV or something like that. And it's basically going to be a big crossover with a bunch of other different shows, similar to how they did it with Supernatural, kind of like that, where they were, like, on the set of Supernatural. But with this, they're going to have crossovers with a bunch of different shows, including Mr. Parker's Cul-de-sac, so look forward to the return of Mr. Parker. But then also the big ones is we're getting some Star Trek stuff and Friends. That's right, we're getting some Friends stuff going on in here. The most binge-watched show on Netflix, when it was on Netflix, coming to HBO Max May 27th. But yeah, this sounds like it's going to be a really good episode. Not sure how it's going to continue the story. And I really don't know how they're going to be able to use the Fate now that they're not immortal anymore. So yeah, please let me know all your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. Please remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And smash the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.